Files. And then in here, you will see Kleki Resources. And here is a photo I took of fabric. All right, so what you're going to do is you're going to download this and you're going to save it. It's going to download and probably just save it into your downloads. You're going to hit close. All right, so let's just disregard the recording button here. Now that I'm getting ready to open up the rough that I want to practice in Kleki, I open up this, I go to kleki.com. All right, so here's my blank. What I want to do first is over here, I want to set up a vertical format. So I click on that and I click on portrait, it changes it to a vertical format. I click OK. And then I want to place that photo that I downloaded. So right here in this little file button, click on that. And I come over to my downloads. And I can see this is the image 7462. I open that. And I click open. Now, right here, I want to place it as a layer. All right, not as an image. So make sure you're placing it as a layer. And then it'll adjust the position automatically to fit the size. So I click OK. So there is the photo that I took. And here are the layers. So if you click on the layers palette right there, you can see layer 1 is the background, layer 2 is the photo. I want to have a third layer that I can draw on. So right here in this plus sign, I click the plus sign. That's layer 3. Now if I come back to my brushes and I start tracing the contours, all right, this is something that we've done before. You guys remember how we did contour line tracing? Same thing that we did with the portrait, you know, and adding the lines to find edges of separation. I'm going to use a color that is similar. So in this case, I think I'm going to use something light, like a really, really light gray. And now I'm going to change my brush size, because you can see if I come over with a size 4 brush, that's actually pretty good. So maybe I'm just going to hit the back button here. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to trace all the contour edges of separation. So I can pinch and zoom. All right, I can pinch and zoom. And then I can come in and I can just say, okay, like right along here, there's an edge of separation. There's a value. And this is going to be relative to what we're looking at on the pants, right, where you can see edges of separation. Values right through here. There's another value through here. I can see all this. So I want you to just kind of come in and start to trace the edges of separation where they start and stop. You can see it kind of breaks up here. Variations in tone there. So this is first. Give yourself a good contour line drawing where there's edges of separation in light and dark. All right, that's a continuous line, and I can see if I look really closely right here, you see there's a very, very light value line here, and then another line here. This is just going to be a gradient of color, so I'm not going to trace anything. I really just want to, I just want to find the major edges of separation. Some of them may be light and broken. Okay, some of them might have more distinct edges. You can see this one's a little bit broken because it has a gradient in there. And this one's very, very sharp. Now, when I get down into here where I've got all these little folds and creases, I need to be careful that I don't lose the detail. So in here, I've got this. All right, and I got to look for all of those creases, even in the middle value shaded areas. This is kind of broken here. And when I say broken, I just mean a broken line, because there's a value here that gets a little bit lighter as it works its way out. All right, so continue this part of the tracing. This was actually a t-shirt that I traced, or that I photographed. Just so you know where the edges of separation are. All right. So now look, if I go back to my layers palette here, and I slide this layer down, okay, you can see all the white lines. It's white on white, so you're not going to see them all that well. But I can see by lowering the opacity on this where the values are going to need to go. I also see that I have one like right in through here that I didn't quite put in, because that's a very good sharp highlight edge. Now, what am I going to do now? Well, on this same layer, on layer 3, I'm going to start painting. So if I come back to my brush, I'm going to look at for this, we're just going to use with if you want to go with a gray color, let's go with I don't know, you can pick any color you want, honestly, because this is just a black and white image. So the middle values are going to be, anywhere that you see a middle value, that's going to be the middle version of any color. So if I was going to do something in the denim color, right, and I'm starting here, I've got this gradient of blues. So if I start in with a light blue here, and I go into my different brushes, the blending brush, and obviously now I need to shrink the brush size down. All right, maybe go a little bit bigger. So I'm just kind of putting in that middle gray value in there. And then on the outer edge of that, I need to get a little bit lighter. So I'm going to come to a lighter version of that color. If I come over here, and if I want to pull some of this, again, this is the sketchy brush. The size is at a 1, so I'll increase the size a little bit. And see, I'm kind of creating that middle value, that darker value. I can kind of blend over the two, and it's just going based on the color that I have here. So if I kind of build that up a little bit to create that value, that white, look at that, it goes right in there. Maybe get a little bit lighter again. All right, see how it's kind of picking up that light now. So painting's about the brush stroke. Painting can be about the expression of it. Right, I can zoom in here and then just kind of put that dark value in up against that. And I got a lighter value up in here. So what's going to happen is if I come back to my layers now and I remove this layer, what you'll see is the beginning part of a value painting. And then I can bring my opacity on layer 2 back up. See how I had a hole right in there? And just kind of put some of the values in. A light value along there, light value. Okay, so let's just come in here and take some time developing some of the interesting blends. See, I can come back over now with the blending brush and soften some of those edges. Now in here I got a dark, so if I use the blending brush, it's not quite dark enough, I'll get a little bit darker. Go right up against that line with the blend brush. See, it kind of softens that edge, and then the dark value is going to be in that brush, in the brush stroke through here. But up against the light edge right here, watch. There's my dark edge. And then I get into a light edge, maybe shrink the size down a little bit. I got my light blue, almost white, and you can see it just kind of blends brush stroke. So if I come back to the layer, look at that. All right, I'm creating the values as I see them in the painting. All right, so take some time to continue working on the values. Obviously, I didn't trace all the white lines. If I do need to go back and trace the white lines, I'm going to click back on my light brush here up in the white and come back to my regular brush, and the size was 4. Obviously, I need to continue doing some of those values. All right, so the contour line tracing is going to give you a good idea as to where the values are going to need to be going as far as the separation. And then just get in there and start to play around with creating interesting values and trying the brushes out on the rough. Any questions on that? Let me know. Now that I've gotten a little bit more than halfway done, how are we going to save so that we can reopen it if we need to? First, I want to lower the opacity of the photo layer. So I come in, I'm just going to zoom out a little bit and imagine that I got more than half done or half done. I click on layer 2, slide the opacity all the way down to 0 so I see the painting and the line drawing. Then go to File. Now it'll automatically say Save PNG. And then below Browser Storage, you can see where it says click Store. And then it'll say Overwrite. Once I click Overwrite, it'll say this dialog box. I click OK. And now all I need to do is close the tab, and then I can reopen the window, type in the Kleki.com, and my drawing is there with all the layers and everything that I need in order to continue painting as I was. So now all I need to do is just download it by clicking on the blue arrow, and then I can upload it to my Padlet link.